Attention shoppers! Wayfair's Black Friday preview sale is here early. Right now, get up to 70% off everything home and everything you need for the season ahead. Score quality furniture for every room in the house, guest-approved bedding for a season of hosting, top brands and cookware, festive holiday decor for indoors and out, and so much more. Whether you need a new sofa that fits the whole family or a new serving dish that fits your famous sweet potato casserole, Wayfair is the place to go for Black Friday deals on finds to feast, get festive, and get comfortable all season long. Plus, sit back and relax. With Wayfair's fast and easy shipping, everything home comes straight to your home. Right now until October 31st, enjoy 10% back. That's double rewards when you join our new loyalty program. Plus, as a Wayfair Rewards member, you'll get free shipping, access to exclusive sales, and more. There's no place like home for the holidays, and no place like Wayfair for Black Friday savings. Shop now at wayfair.com, and for a limited time, enjoy 10% back when you join Wayfair Rewards. Terms apply.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Katzimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Joining us now is General Keith Kellogg, National Security Advisor in the President Trump administration. General Kellogg, first of all, we're so honored to have you here today. I want to get your reaction to what you just heard from the president, along with all of us.
Yeah, John, Rita, thanks for having me. My first impression is, wow, that was a great interview. I mean, look by his voice, you see how relaxed he was. And he was very, very well aware of everything going around him. He had the names right. He had the places right. He had the discussion right. He was on the money. I was really pleasantly surprised how well that went. I just thought it was really great. And clearly the relationship, John, that you have with him is really something else. But, yeah, I would say it was great. And what he said, like the comments that are being made now, and I know you're going to pivot to that in a second with John Kelly and people like that. You know, those comments by Kelly were garbage. They really were. And I actually commented on that already. But I was pleasantly surprised when he made some comments. And the comment, because he actually brought out 5 generals to include SecDefs, when he talked about Milley, and he talked about Esper, and he talked about Kelly and the rest of them and how relaxed he was. But the thing was so good, and it was so important because it was important for America, was Afghanistan. He made a comment about Milley not wanting to bring the equipment out because equipment was left behind. And, John, you mentioned that as well. He's absolutely right, because I was personally involved in those discussions with Milley. And what Trump did, a lot of people don't realize, he negotiated with the Taliban to allow us to move that equipment through Helmand Province, through the bottom part of Afghanistan, into Pakistan, to the port of Karachi, where we could have gotten everything out. It would have taken a long time to do it, but we knew that. But Trump didn't want to leave anything. And Milley actually pushed back on that. And I said, nope, we're going to count bumper numbers. We're going to count it bumper by bumper by bumper to get him out of there. So he was right. So when people talk about leaving stuff behind, that was never his intent. It was a conditions-based agreement that he had with the Taliban, with Abdullah Baradar. And I was there. I heard it. I listened to it. I was in the Oval Office, and I was actually helping manage that as we get out of there. I just had to bring up that point because it was so interesting when he talked about it.
General Keith Kellogg, that's a really powerful point, because all of our jaws dropped when he said that. It's the first time I heard that it was sort of Milley's advice. Clearly, look, President Biden took that advice, and Kamala Harris, and look at what a catastrophe that was.
Oh, yeah, Rita, and I mean, there was a way to do it, but we had to get an agreement with the Taliban because they basically controlled Helmand Province. And they said, yeah, we won't bother the convoys, and it's a 2-lane road. It's kind of, blacktop, but it was a way to get it through into Pakistan to the port of Karachi, and we were going to get it out of there, and that's how we were going to get stuff out. But the conditions-based agreement was always from day one. We were never going to leave Bagram Air Base, ever. We were going to maintain a residual force on the ground, with over 3,500 service members and special operations forces as well. And until we had an agreement between the Ghani government and the Taliban. That's what I call a conditions-based agreement. They call that the Doha Agreement. And by the way, you can go online and look at it. It's an unclassified document. So that thing just turned into a real disaster. We lost 13 great Americans at Abbey Gate during the withdrawal. So I was there. I saw it. The president's exactly right. I was really glad he brought it up because he's spot on.
Go ahead,
and General, a lot of these people. It just how he talked about each one of these Kelly, Esper, Mattis, and Milley, and explained just what they were and why where he disagreed with them. It was fascinating listening to him do that. He knows people and he knows them well.
Well, John, he made that comment to you about being a businessman, and sometimes you get rid of people. And look, a lot of these people, and Kelly was like that, and so was, unfortunately, at the end, Milley. They thought that they got electoral college votes. I used to remind people they didn't. The only people who got electoral college votes were Trump and Pence, and the rest of you are, we're, to use my term, we're Christmas help. All right, we can be let go at any time, when the president wants us to, and that happens in organizations. If you don't, I'm from the West, okay, and there's a term in the West that you use. You hear it. You ride for the brand. What I mean by that is once you sign on to the outfit and you work for the trail boss, and you ride for the brand of the organization. And when you don't ride for the brand, you leave it.
That's what the presidency's about. And if you sign up, you ride with the brand. That's a very good way of putting it.
And I do know the president a long time, and don't forget, he grew up in Queens, small borough in the outer boroughs, and he worked hard with his father in the construction industry. He dealt with all the unions. He dealt with all the tough guys. He knew how to survive. And then he went to Atlantic City again, dealt with all the tough guys there, dealt with all the, how do we say it nicely, all the characters in New Jersey, and and survived. Where he did go wrong is when he had a problem with his casinos, but nobody tells the real story. When those helicopters go down, his whole management team went down.
Yeah. Well, John, and I thought how we pivoted to business leadership is exactly how he ran the presidency. It was, basically it was very transactional. You either performed or you didn't perform. And I used to always laugh about it. I used to call it Trump time. In back in the day when I played football, it was called Lombardi time. Vince Lombardi, the great coach of the Green Bay Packers. And it was always, you always do things immediately. When he'd say, I need you to get this done, we'd go, okay. And then 5 minutes later, say, have you done it yet? Is it, I haven't even left the office yet. But that was the way he was. And good people respond to that because they know where his heart was. And his heart was always with Americans. He wanted America to do well. And that was his whole goal. And everybody should have been in full support. Some of them weren't. Those people left.
Yeah.
Fortunately, John, I can actually say I made it all through 4 years with him, which I was very proud to say to that.
Well, well-deserved. Everybody, we are talking to General Keith Kellogg.
Larry Kudlow, and he made it through 4 years. And also, who was the guy that went away? He was on a show with us.
Sean Spicer, are you talking about?
No,
or who are you talking about? No, he left.
No,
but I'm trying to think of who.
Mike Pompeo.
Mike Pompeo, 4 years, a very, very
Mike Pompeo made it.
A very decent individual.
They kept really good
decent
ones.
Individual.
Yeah.
Really good ones.
People.
Everybody, we are talking to General Keith Kellogg, who is in the National Security Administration with President Trump. Judge Weinberg.
General, good to talk to you again, sir. I'll tell you what I found very offensive with the remarks by Kamala Harris calling President Trump a fascist. That name-calling, which doesn't deal with the excellent record that he conducted himself on. He kept the country safe. He kept the economy strong. He was not a fascist. He was a tough executive. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Judge, here's the thing, and you all know him because he's from New York, but I remind her when she did that comment about being Hitler and he listened to Hitler's generals, I said, okay, just step back for a second. Jared Kushner's son-in-law is Jewish. Ivanka, his daughter, has converted to Judaism. His 3 grandchildren are the Jewish faith. Really? He moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which was a very symbolic act when he did that, and we were told there'd be a third intifada. It wasn't. For people to make comments like that, there's a lot of words you can use, and they're not designed for a family program. But you look at it and you go, man, I cannot believe you'd say that, and it's just so shallow when people make comments like that, and Harris is like that. And I can actually say this on a Twitter account or X, what do you want to call it. I said her comments yesterday just proved to me that Vice President Kamala Harris is a fraud. It's a harsh statement, yes. It's a partisan statement, yes, but it's a true statement. And she doesn't have depth at all, and you can see that. And anybody who's reasonable can actually see that she cannot answer the question. Because bottom line, She's not a student. What I mean by a student, when you become the president or vice president or senior official, you have to study virtually every day. Like you're in a PhD program every minute of every day when you're in the presidency or senior position, because you have to be smart. You have to be up on all the programs. You have to study the programs. You have to study what's going on. And you have to have the agility, the mental agility to make pivots all the time. Trump did that. I made a comment. I think he probably got bad one time when I said, Mr. President, you're a learning president. He goes, huh? I said, there's a series of books out called the Dummies books, Math for Dummies, whatever, Engineering for Dummies.
Right. It's a series. Yep.
It's all, you just have to learn it on the go. And man, he did it every day. You could see him say, wow, it was so much. It was actually fun to watch how we would get that. And the rest of us, we all were with him. We were all learning at the same time. But that's what makes good administrations. And the fact of the matter is, we weren't afraid of learning or seeing what's going on. I don't think Harris has done that. I think she spent 4 years, 3.5 years, almost 4 now, in the White House, and she hasn't learned a thing because she never took the time to study what she was doing and what was going on. And that's a huge mistake. You know that from business. You know that from law. You know that from anything. You have to stay abreast of the situation, what's actually happened, and learn as you go along. She hasn't done that. Trump did.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is really, really powerful. I believe we have a guest coming in like 2 seconds here, but very quickly, final thoughts on President Trump and how he will keep America safe, real quick.
Well, I think what he's going to do is he's going to bring in an incredibly good team. And he's admitted he made some mistakes, but he's going to have a good team come in, and then he's going to make that truism of America first, because it's going to count for what's good for American is always going to be good for America. It's good for American citizens. It's going to be good for America. And he's got that. He knows where he's at. He knows his place in history.
Yep.
And he's going to be a historical figure because he'll be the only other person besides Grover Cleveland to serve 2 terms with a break between them. And the fact is, he knows what legacy is going to look like, and he'll accomplish it.
Well, let's keep, General, let's keep the free world free.
Yeah. You got that right.
Thank you, General. Great to have you here. Thank you so much on such an important day. General Keith Kellogg, thank you. We love you, Keith. Thank you.